I'm Sid.
And I'm Mike.
And this is Comedy Filmmakers Motivation Monday.
The podcast.
And I'm Carl.
Oh,
Carl's back.
here. What's up, dude?
Yeah.
Where did you come from?
I just dropped in.
I'm so happy you're here because you're my dad's favorite part of this podcast.
Hey,
Yep, true.
I love to hear that.
What exactly do you mean by that, Sid? What happened?
Well, he said he was really impressed with Carl and he felt like Carl was the only adult in the room at times and that Carl really held everything together.
Well, we always say Carl is the super glue of the Sid and Mike
He's
universe.
the ampersand.
He holds this shit together.
So, my only reason my dad is still listening, really, Carl, is because
He's
of
written both of
you.
us off.
Yep.
Thanks, Sid's dad. And guys, thank you for the super glue comment. I feel like that's...
You know, the positive is that my dad is listening.
Hey.
And I have to be real. That's so amazing
battle.
because not everyone's dad would do that.
Mark,
Shout
I'm gonna
out.
call you. I'm gonna call you on speaker pretty soon here, Mark.
Yes.
Shout out to
Dad.
the dads listening right now. Folks, we are here, and it is Comedy Filmmakers Motivation Monday,
Yeah.
the podcast. And what we do here is we talk about our experience as comedy filmmakers. We are making a TV show. We've been pitching it. We've been navigating the ins, the outs, the tribulations, and the trials of the industry. And we're here to report. Right?
Yeah, we are here to report.
We're here to
especially on
report.
the trials.
We're also here to motivate. We're motivating each other and we're motivating you all because it's
It's hard out here.
it's an effort.
It's hard out here. Sid's trying to say it's hard out here.
I would never say it's hard out here. I would never say it's a hard week. This podcast, though, really keeps me going, and it is one of my favorite parts of the week. And I always feel inspired by it. And I have told, I think everyone in my life that I love doing this.
Speaking of the week, what happened this week, Mike? Do you have anything you want to share with us?
Like Mike.
Well, I worked on a big HBO show.
Work. We love work.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I don't know if I could say which one it was. It was a big HBO show.
NDA. We respect NDAs here. Mike's gonna say what the show was, and then we're gonna blur it out.
I worked on, and I will say this: for makeup is so fucking good.
Yeah.
The makeup is like real at this point.
Google's in production shows. Hey, Carl, how was your week?
My week was good. I will say that my week, one of the highlights of my week, number one highlight, I cooked a lot. And in
Nice.
particular on Sunday, I cooked yesterday. I cooked because every Comedy Filmmakers Motivation Monday is filmed and recorded on a Monday.
Lies and silly stuff, but we're honest when it doesn't happen.
I cooked all day long. I have talked about cooking on this podcast before, and I cooked all day long, and that was great. And I will also say I spent a lot of time with AI this week.
Oh yeah.
You might not have heard of ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is the new intern on the show, and we got a lot of good work done for the podcast and for the future.
I am grateful for ChatGPT, but also very scared of it.
Here we go.
Shut
this
up,
is Conspiracy Hour with Sid.
All
has
right,
begun.
we're back.
Tell us what freaks you out about AI.
They're going to take over the human race. And
Yep.
before you know it, we're not even going to exist and none of us will have jobs. Thank you, Carl.
They're listening to your thoughts.
I'm grateful for the intern, but am I grateful enough? Is it right? Is it sitting well with my soul? I'll let you know next week.
I will say, look, okay, conspiracy or not, you're onto something. This shit is freaky. It's almost literally the plot of Terminator.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, we're here.
And The Matrix. It's like
And
those
The
two,
Matrix.
put those two movies together.
Yeah.
It's the Terminator and The Matrix meets the Truman Show. And
Oh.
guess who's Truman? ChatGPT.
Mm.
Okay,
Oh.
so
Yeah.
they're about to leave the
That's
show.
positive.
Yeah.
Um.
Sid, how was your week?
Sid, how was your week?
It was good, but I have to say, if you want to be an intern or you know anyone, a human that wants to be an intern and work with Sid and Mike, email us at sydandmikenyc@gmail.com or DM us because I personally am trying to get ChatGPT the fuck out.
I just got a text message from ChatGPT, and you just made ChatGPT very sad.
Well, good thing ChatGPT is not our sponsor this week, okay?
Wow.
Anyway, my week was really great. It was a great week.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Lay it down.
Emphasis. I might have wild anxiety. I might be stressed, but I'm thriving. Like
just go ahead and say it.
I'm not gonna say it. It was a hard week. It's been a really hard week, guys.
No, Sid. But you've got a new fashion statement, a new fashion piece. So she's a fashionista.
Here's the thing. So I will talk about the week, though. I've been working a lot. We don't really talk about real jobs here, okay?
We don't?
Sure we do.
Yeah, sure we do. But I have been thinking a lot about being more creative, which I haven't maybe been doing. However, this podcast and you guys are really helping me find my own voice. And I appreciate that because when I listen to these podcasts back, I've had a really hard time with it. I've talked about it a little bit. That there's a lot of self-awareness that happens, but I have to say thank you to both of you because you are the best, and I feel really grateful to be working with you because you always tell me to take up space, and this podcast has been good, and I'm hoping that
if you're listening and if you're watching on YouTube, it's time to head to our social media and comment, Sid, you're great on the podcast.
You're doing a great job, Sid.
We're all here to encourage you.
I've gotten multiple calls from people that say, Sid is so funny.
I got some requests in my inbox that said, bring back crossfaded Sid.
Baby, she's here.
All right. She's trying to peek, but she still isn't doing it. I love this. We're doing good. We got the mixer dialed in.
The reason she's back is not because of anything other than this hat that I've got.
Oh, if you're on YouTube right now, you might notice that something has shifted in the room.
Baby, this hat is hot. Okay.
Oh my God.
Jamiroquai has entered the chat.
For people who are only listening, this hat is, I would say, a bucket hat. It's like a faux fur bucket hat, cheetah print.
We don't know if it's faux or not. That could be a real cheetah.
No,
gonna put $100 on faux.
I would never.
Gonna have to say, if you're bucket hatting a real cheetah fur, then you got it. You got it. Like you ain't on a podcast. Like you got it enough that you ain't doing a podcast in your living room.
Is that leopard? I think it might be leopard. I don't know.
Yeah, it's leopard.
Oh, it's leopard. He's saying cheetah over here.
Oh.
I said cheetah. So I just want to say right now to all the cheetahs and to the leopards out there that I'm really sorry that I don't know the difference between cheetah and leopard spots.
Yeah.
And it's something that I will be working on from this point forward.
Yeah.
If I'm going to run a podcast, then I should know the difference.
I went to see, you guys, this was my grandmother's hat, okay? I went to go see my grandma. And
shout out to Gam Gam.
And
Gam
this
Gam,
is
if
something.
you're listening, we love you.
And she's my favorite. I love her. And I got this hat, and this hat has special powers. I'm not sure, but I feel positive, and something that I learned this week that I will share with everyone. It's a little serious, but when you focus on people and you focus on things, people and things are always changing. And if you can focus on that space in between that's very still, all of a sudden you get still. And that has been something that is a huge takeaway because we are living a life full of ups and downs and shit is fucking crazy. And we're dealing with ChatGPT, which is causing my insides a lot of turbulence. Not gonna lie. And so that's a real piece of advice, and it's helped calm me down.
I love that. I think if with things getting crazy, with things getting hard, with us needing to find ways to cope with those things, we might be right on top of our topic of the week.
Carl, this train ain't never late. Here he is, keeping us on track. Hear that, Dad? Here he is. He's pulling up.
How do we, as filmmakers, in the sense that we make everything ourselves, we do everything ourselves, and we have to, support ourselves in life. How the hell do we avoid burnout?
You tell me.
I mean, I think this is one of those things where it's like we're all going to say, I don't think I really have an answer. I don't. I mean, I really don't. I feel like I haven't had a sustainable, long enough time of avoiding burnout where I could say, oh, I've got the surefire way. And so
I don't
I'm
think
going to
that
just like
anyone...
prediction to the end of the episode. I think my suspicion is that avoiding burnout might not be completely possible.
We have to lean in.
That might be it. And I think that along the way, we're going to find maybe some keys to like
Tools.
not fully give in to burnout, because I think it's coming.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been times in the past where I've felt very burned out. And one of the real saving graces that I have in this journey that I'm on is you two, because
Look at this. Is this a gratitude episode?
absolutely, man.
Emotions.
Like, look, and when I think that like what the wonderful part of having teammates and like collaborating with people is that when you are feeling burnt out, you can communicate that with somebody, and you know, if you're with the right people, find your people. If you're with the right people, they will take that torch and run with it for you. So then you know, get a little bit of reprieve instead of like having all of that weight on your shoulders. And you guys are really amazing about that.
And as someone, like, I live alone, and if you don't have someone else around, you tend to...
Sid has full security at all times, though, by the way. She's not alone.
I have Walter.
She has full security on the premises at all times.
If you are alone a lot, or you work alone, or anything like that, you can get stuck really easily. And then it's a little paralysis, and you don't move, and you can't motivate yourself, and... you get into a downward spiral. But when you work with a group and the right people, then yes, it's okay. Go take your time, go through what you're going through. But personally, we all feel, I think, okay, well, we owe it to the team to show back up. And also we get the support to say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
What do you need to be able to show back up? And so that's really great.
The reality is we have not secured that bag yet. We have not secured the show deal. So every little piece that we add to this puzzle is completely self-generated.
I'm still wearing this hat.
Yeah.
Do you think that I should wear it the whole episode?
If you want to find out if Sid's still wearing the hat after the break, then you're going to have to stick around for a message from our sponsor.
I feel like the headphones are ruining it, but
no. They're making it so much better.
Hey guys, we've got a sponsor for today's episode, but it's not who you think it is.
That's right. This episode is brought to you by a cutting-edge AI language model that can answer almost any question you throw at it.
And the best part is, it's not even the sponsor. It's just a tool we're using to make this podcast better.
That's because today's actual sponsor is a new app called Not GPT. It's the perfect tool for anyone who wants to stay organized and productive.
With Not GPT, you can keep track of your tasks, set reminders, and even collaborate with your team.
And the best part is, it's free to download and use. So what are you waiting for? Head to notgpt.com to get started.
Thanks again to ChatGPT for helping us improve our podcast, even if they're not actually the sponsor. And thanks to Not GPT for supporting our show.
We are back. Thanks to our sponsor. I'm not really clear on who our sponsor is.
I feel like that might have been written by ChatGPT.
I think that not only the ad, I feel like the ad was purchased by ChatGPT, and maybe ChatGPT wrote the ad.
I think so. But
who took the call on that ad sale? I didn't take the call.
Our intern.
Our intern took the call on that.
Here's the thing. Our intern is ChatGPT.
Okay, so if this isn't convincing everyone that humanity is going to go.
Well, we always are thankful for our sponsors. Hey, look, the check cleared. That's what matters.
That is what matters.
Cha-ching.
So, we were talking before the break a little bit about avoiding burnout.
Yeah.
But I think it might be time to bring on our guest.
Yay, my favorite part of the show. A
little bit about our next guest. Look, he's a director and a writer and an editor and a cinematographer. Hey, multi-hyphenates around the world better watch out, because he's also now a podcast guest. We're talking to Ryan Garretson.
Yay.
Yes.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
This is my first time in an audio medium.
An audio recording studio?
In an audio recording studio.
You're in luck because this is actually an audio large.
It's you pulled this on me earlier, and I didn't know what to do with it. And
I don't know if anybody knows what
For
to do
Sid,
with that.
it's an audio small.
my first time on a
Youth large.
podcast. Thank you
Welcome.
for having me.
It's great to have
good
you.
to
Thanks for
be
being
here.
Yeah.
It's good to see how the pod gets made. I just want to say, you guys told me not to chime in the early part. I had a few moments where I thought about
Did
it.
you have any slam dunks? Let's
Okay,
hear it.
Ryan.
Whether or not
Ryan,
I had a
We do have a
slam
No, no,
strict
no.
rule: no chiming in the first
Ryan,
portion.
we told you to do what you wanted to do.
That's
so the
true.
fact that you internalized that and took that
Yeah.
as
It was
don't
followed
interrupt, I would say
by
we
some-
might
But
want to
did
dig into
We
that.
did say like, "Hey, you do whatever you want to do."
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
If you want to put yourself out there, like we're a finely oiled machine. If you want to throw in with the big dogs, go ahead. Look, you can't. We say no chiming in, but you can bing bong, you can ding dong.
Yeah,
actually,
how was
yeah.
that, Mike?
Yeah.
We would like to just mention to any future guests that feel free to come in with a bing bong or a ding dong, but a chime.
Also,
Don't
next
chime in.
time,
It's just not. It really. That's sort of a trend that was sort of over in 2018.
Lies and silly stuff.
I didn't even once consider chiming in. Just like you hit that yellow button, all of a sudden
Oh,
it was
shit.
like
That's
you
true.
guys
It wasn't
had it
the-
all planned out.
wasn't the yellow button for me. It was the hat.
That's true. I feel like Sid's got the hat power.
Mm-hmm.
I might be getting hot, but we're gonna ignore it.
If you get too hot, please take it off. Sid, if anyone looks over and Sid is just passed out, just let me know and we'll stop everything. We'll stop rolling on cameras. Speaking of which, we are shooting these on cameras. You should be watching
yeah.
this on YouTube.
Wait,
Yeah.
this hat's on camera
Yeah.
with the headphones over it.
Ryan,
Hi guys,
Um,
I'm still here.
you and I go way back.
Thank you.
If you guys listen to the DIY episode, you know about a little video collective that we had called Video Mass. We were members of it. Ryan was like the founding member of it with our friend Kale. They were the guys that had the idea to say like, hey, all of our friends who are creative and trying to make stuff, let's make stuff. Let's be creative. Let's do it. Let's like put a date on the calendar. And
I always like to think of myself as the chief instigator.
that's exactly
Would have been my title.
Chief Instigating Officer, the
Yeah.
CIO.
Yeah.
What gave you the where did the audacity come from?
Where do you get off?
Like, where do you get off telling a bunch of people to go and make stuff?
I think that it just came from a place of wanting to have an excuse to go out and make stuff and not think that much about it. And it also, at the time, I remember it feeling like maybe I wasn't the only one feeling that way. It was like, what's the next project going to be? It was like a thought that people were having. And I had also finished grad school not like too far prior. I had a few years of like steady assignments, and it just felt really good to be making stuff all the time. And being in school and being in film school, you were always getting asked to help out on other people's projects. So I was just very much in that mode, and I had happened to meet all of you guys, many other talented young up-and-coming filmmakers.
Still young.
Still young.
Yeah. That's what I like the most about us is that we're all still young.
Super young.
So young.
I would say like the interesting thing for me about one of the things that I say about Video Mass for me is that it was like my version of film school, but you had just come out of film school and you helped start Video Mass.
I was like,
and now
more.
I'm making that connection where it was like, oh, I needed that. And he was bringing it from the film school world. So
Was it like the inmates running the insane asylum over there at Video Mass? Is that kind of what?
Yeah, I think that's like fairly accurate. If we're comparing it to film school, it was almost as if the students were the teachers as well, or the inmates were running the asylum, if you want to go.
Which
The
I
monkeys
feel
were
like
running the
might be
circus.
its own lesson, right? You go to film school, you learn all this stuff, then you went and you were a leader and that's a teacher in a way, and that's a whole other learning curve.
It was really all just, it was all coming from a place of pent up filmmaking.
Yeah.
I was like,
I
does
love that.
anybody want to go and just make a movie and say that it'll be done in like 2 months?
Yeah.
Anybody? And I got at least a handful of people to go along with that.
That's awesome.
So the first one, how long did you guys? So for anybody that, just to make it clear, Video Mass was a filmmaking collective where people would get together and help each other make films, and then there was one screening after however long the period of time for making
A
films
short
was.
period of time.
It was like 30 to 60 days.
I
I don't
short
know.
Period.
Right. It was a very short period of time. And you would have a screening and everybody would get together and watch the movie. So that's basically what Video Mass was. And then it grew from there into something much bigger over the years. But like, so how many filmmakers were involved in that first one? And how long did you have to make the film?
So for the first Spooky Fest,
Spooky Fest was the first thing that,
for the first
that Video Mass
Spooky
did.
Fest,
October 2012.
yes.
Wow.
And I'll always remember that it was 2012 because Hurricane Sandy happened like days before the date of the screening. And as a result, I didn't have to go into work. And because of that, I think that was why I had enough time to finish the edit of my team's project for Spooky Fest.
That sounds very Video Mass.
Yeah, yes. And we're here to talk about Burnout.
Yeah,
so we're going to work our way up to that.
My teammate had to walk from Long Island City to Brooklyn to go to the screening of the Spooky Fest things because like Sandy had shut down all like the real transportation stuff.
But that actually Hurricane Sandy actually gave that first screening like a very sort of riled up, excited, we were all happy to be there doing anything together as well. And we were celebrating the fact that we had
Made it out alive.
collectively, the 5 new short films had come into existence in the span of like 6 weeks, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the short. I feel like that was the shortest period of time we gave anybody.
So that had a built-in deadline with Halloween.
Right.
And so whenever you guys came up with the idea, Halloween was like the when you were going to screen them. So that was what gave you the original deadline of whatever it was, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
What was your first one?
My first thing was, I believe I was in your film, Maximum Stash, Quantum Redeemer.
No, you were in my Love Fest film,
Mike Holt Forever.
Forever.
That was before Maximum Stash?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I have it backwards.
Love Fest was the second one. So the very first Love Fest.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of the place where we did it. Oh,
That was at Third Ward.
Third Ward. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah,
And
so
R.I.P.
I was in a film called Mike Holt Forever that I was not the lead of, but it was like...
Someone else played Mike Holt. You played a guy named Craig.
Is that what it was? I loved that. I loved that movie so much. I loved it. So we were talking about it today. It opened... I don't know if it opened with this, but I was editing myself in a other film that I had made, and and it was like a really bad
It was
scene.
It was a Sid and Mike thing
It was
that
a
you
Sid and
had
Mike
done.
thing, yeah.
Oh,
The original.
Here we go.
It was
Preparing to Lose.
Yes,
Boom.
there it is.
Right there.
I didn't have to bring it up.
So-
And it got on the pod.
Should we take a little second and you guys talk about the history of Preparing to Lose and how all that came
No.
It
together?
all started one...
But I'm very
Summer.
late.
I swear there's going to be an
I
episode where
feel-
we dig in deep.
I feel like I keep
Mark my
learning
words.
about Video Mass because I came in so late and I only came in because of Mike. And I just think it's so cool. And I went to LA during that time. I had moved to LA in the beginning of 2012 and made my own short there and worked with other people after working with Mike. And it was not the same. And I was so discouraged. And I kind of stepped out of all of it entirely unless I've flown back to work with Mike. When you guys did 420 Fest, we had a short in there. But it's such a different
Syrah.
vibe, and it is so important.
Check it out on YouTube. Syrah.
It is so important to find people that help you when you are burned out or you don't want to keep going or you don't know what your next step is. Video Mass was so awesome. And when I came back to New York, I was so pumped. Like it was just what you guys were doing, stepping into it. I was so inspired. Like that's how I even kept going. It was you.
Yeah.
all doing video math.
I think it's really easy for creative people when they're being creative to think like, oh, this is where I want to just live. I want to live in the creativity. What you don't recognize is that it actually is, you are spending like your energy. You are exerting like effort. And I think that we can approach burnout even in the most fun projects, like the things that give us the most joy can sometimes, and sometimes it's the things that give us the most joy that we're going to come the closest to burning out on because we care the most about them. And so like just in general, like Ryan, you've made a bunch of short films. I know like you've been keeping the candle burning, like Ryan and I both are freelance video editors. That's how we pay the bills. What are some tricks to stay like creatively away from burnout, or when you're in burnout, like how do you stay creative?
So we didn't talk about this in advance of recording this episode, but I feel like I have more experience with burning out than I do with like carefully taking those steps to avoid burning out on a particular project or day, but I've definitely burned out plenty of times. And I can tell you how to get there.
But how do you get out? So let's say, because we all are going to burn out and we all have burned out. So there's tools to avoid that, and then there's tools to get out of it.
So Carl said something a moment ago that rang a bell in my brain, which is how the things that you burn out on can come from it's the things that you're passionate about that cause you to like go to that length where you're, working on too little sleep or you're just juggling too many things. So for me, burnout can actually occur as an excess of motivation.
Now you're here on Motivation Monday, and here at Motivation Monday, we provide motivation in maybe unsafe levels.
Yeah. There's
I would say
the Surgeon General actually wants us to put a warning on the
disclaimer.
podcast.
This is actually the first episode.
We were supposed to do that.
Much motivation.
We were supposed to do that at the beginning of the episode.
We actually killed somebody.
I'll read it now
with motivation.
I'll read it right now. What they sent us this is directly from Joe Biden. If you experience too much motivation while listening to this podcast, please turn off the podcast and start watching reality TV. That will stop you from feeling any other creative thoughts for the rest of your life. This has been a message from the Surgeon General.
And Joe Biden.
Bing bong.
And that's how you bing bong.
I'm sorry.
That's how you bing bong.
I'm sorry. Let's. We probably interrupted a thought that was in the process of being made, but
was it worth it? No.
I want to. Is there like a moment of burnout that like you don't have to tell us like specifics about what the project was or anything, but like what that experience is like? Because I think like there are creators out there that don't even know that they're burned out.
Yes, and I think that is definitely something that can happen, because I think that part of it is when you had the thing that had motivated you so much that you were just like working to your limits of how much time you had, or, if it's like being on set physically, how much you could endure. But the moment where I think you've crossed the line is when you're still doing that work and you've like it's lost all joy. It's like you're not even sure why you're doing it or why you wanted to do it in the first place. That's like when you've reached critical burnout, There's a big divide, I think, between the paid work and the work you're doing from the passion perspective. And the paid work, I very rarely get burned out on paid work because I don't.
You're getting paid.
Give a shit.
You're getting paid.
Like
it helps to see the money hit
at this
the
point,
account.
my clients have probably turned off the podcast, but I will say, like, I really do care about my work, but I'm an efficient worker. But as a creative, I'm very free and I'm very inefficient.
And emotional. There's emotion.
Yeah,
involved.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm an inefficient creative, and I think that
Carl,
efficient creatives.
Carl,
We're writing a t-shirt
no,
right now.
I'm going to stop this right now. You are the most efficient creative that I know. Period.
Regardless of how we're rating Carl, I just want to say that I relate to that idea of being an emotional creative, and I do think that it's a factor in burnout, you know, because it's like you'll care about something so much that you just think it's the thing that you have to prioritize over your own health or getting your taxes done or whatever it may be, because it's tax season.
Ryan, you're a writer as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I happen to know that you're working on a feature. You have been for some time. As far as just like sitting down for a longer writing project, what's your experience with that? Because I know that this one in particular you worked on for a long time, and I think lost the notebook that the work was done in, and then found it again, and then like
yes,
so
yes, there was a whole incident.
Writing
where,
is a story,
yes,
in and of itself.
I had been working on a screenplay for it was maybe a year's worth. And I had a notebook that I had been working in. It was like I bought specifically for it. And then there was a fire in my apartment building. So shout out to Carl and his wife for being great people who were at my apartment with an extra cat carrier, like not long after FDNY showed up at the building to start fighting the fire. I mean, they did.
We're an emergency service.
We lived quite close together at the time, but yeah, it was very impressive. Even my neighbors were impressed. Like, who are those people who just showed up with that cat carrier? Like, where'd they come from? But I got separated from my notebook that I had been working in for my screenplay. And that actually kind of unlocked a whole new door into the thinking about the project, because I was able to forget about all the stuff that I had come up with without like
Guilt?
without guilt, or without having to like make a conscious choice to be like, no, I'm putting this aside. I didn't even have to question it. It was just like, well, I'm going to be working on it fresh now, because we had movers pack up our apartment after the fire because there was no electricity. And so we didn't really know where all of our stuff was. And that's how I lost the notebook.
That's actually so refreshing to remind ourselves, because you had to lose the notebook to give yourself permission to detach and take a new perspective, instead of giving yourself the permission to detach and take a new perspective, which is so big. Like, that's so huge. So where are you at now with it? So what was that process from losing the notebook to having the new ideas? What was next?
So the story, the whole kind of scope of the story pretty much like ballooned in the period of time after the fire, because the fire actually, I sort of took the fire and I was like, I'm writing this into my movie.
So is the fire also like a co-writer credit? Like, what's happening?
I would get, if I could. I mean, if I could.
No, I'm so curious, because it's so huge. It really is, to unlock like another level in whatever you're working on. So you lost the notebook.
Yeah. So I think being forced to like let go and just having that experience was just like, I really valued it for my writing process and for my creative process in general, because, and to go back to the theme of today's episode, it's like, if you can't let something go, then you're almost guaranteed that you're going to burn out with it. You know, it's like if you've got something, again, let's say it's a script and you're like, I have to work on this every single day, whether or not I feel like it, or if I have any ideas. And if I don't, I'm fucking it up.
That's how I talk to myself all the time, and I'm burned out.
I was
so
forced
happy
to,
you put that way. That
It's
so,
paralyzing.
Yeah.
So I'm here to tell you.
Light your house on fire.
One of my favorite jokes is that I started that fire. I'll throw that out there
If
with
you
my
can't
partner.
see, if you're not watching on YouTube, Arai's eyes just went black. They went completely black while he started telling this.
Right.
He's
For a
looking
moment-
at me intently.
For a moment, for just
best
a split
idea
second, he
I
turned
ever
into
had.
a demon. You should definitely be watching on YouTube if you want to see our guests
But-
turn into demons.
It was a creative demon.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
okay.
That's a demon
I'm-
I'd buy a screenplay from.
I'm not saying that the best thing that you can do for your creative process is burn your house down.
He's just not,
I'm not
saying
saying
that.
I'm not saying.
But the second best thing is to listen to someone's advice who has burned their house down
Right.
and had
Which technically we could get into the minutia of the fire, but
Well, it's the
kidding.
distance. To me, it's the distance that you were given from
Yes.
that fire. You were given some distance from the project. And that is, we as writers, we definitely hear this. I don't know if we've said it on the podcast before, but we hear this advice a lot, which is kill your darlings, which is to go into your script and find
I thought it
those-
was babies.
well, that's just, it's not PC to say kill your babies. These days, it's going to lose listeners. So
Yeah.
we're going to say kill your darlings. Now, the advice is, for those who don't know, it's to go into your script and to find these things that you're keeping that you love, but they're not really actually servicing the story or the plot. And at this point, when you're trying to rewrite your script, it's time to get it trimmed down to
To take out the things that aren't working
exactly.
or servicing you. Or servicing
Sometimes
the
it's
story.
like you won't know that it's not working because you love it. And that's why
Yeah.
we call it the darling.
Yeah.
And it's like you go into a scene that you really love, and if it's not actually servicing the plot or the story or the character, then cut it. And it might suck because you might really love that joke, but it's time to cut it.
Mike's really good at taking out like 3 and then adding 5.
Right. Mike
That's how you do
adds darlings.
No, we love you.
Mike-
We got really good at that. It's really important. How do you personally avoid burnout? Consciously avoid burnout? And if you do get burned out, how are some ways that you get yourself out of it?
so I'm going to get kind of deep.
That's
That's
what
what
The
we do here.
answer, we're
That's
going
what
to
we
take
do here.
a global view. And I think in trying to avoid burnout, you have to remember that you're a living thing.
Ooh!
Like you're not, bots have come up a few times
I
in this
remembered
episode.
that just today.
And as much as you may have this drive to be, producing, churning out scripts, new shorts, new whatever your thing is, you have to respect the fact that like you have to stop all that, like let your body regenerate, let your mind rest. It's like, have you guys ever made dough, bread dough or pasta dough?
Yes.
Pasta dough.
Do you know what happens to that dough when it gets overworked?
Hard.
It gets hard and tough and it won't rise and it's
Yeah.
just
You don't get the right holes.
it's gone, it's taken too much.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that all the white people here have all made dough. And I'm the only one that's never made any dough.
And to add to what I just said, and this kind of relates to dough as well, is and I want to direct this specifically at Sid. In remembering that you're a living thing, also remember to stay hydrated.
Oh, shit.
And
This
if
is
the
so
dough, if dough isn't hydrated enough, you're not going to be able to make the thing that you want to make with it. So,
You're right.
This
Sid,
is-
drink more water.
I will.
Literally interpret this. Listeners, if you're
Hydrate.
having trouble with your script, drink a fucking glass of water.
It's real.
Actually, great
Like,
advice.
This is not.
It
we
is.
We sound like we're joking. We're not. Drink a fucking glass of water. Eat some fucking lunch.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting around going like, I'm a terrible writer. Have you eaten? That's the question. That's like,
Yeah.
ask yourself.
And when was the last time you had a glass of water? Because I'm very dehydrated right now.
Thankgod.com.
I have
Finally
water.
somebody
Do you
said
want
it.
my water?
No, thank you.
Ryan's
But
pointing to a plant.
those are great ways to both avoid burnout and get yourself out of burnout. And I think that rest is right on. And also,
Rest is right on, as we always say. R-I-O
Look,
and
the other thing is,
R-I-O-O.
I don't think that anybody says this. Take a break, man. Take a break.
In remembering that you're a living thing, I think that also it kind of enforces the idea that you have to be patient with yourself. So I was gonna say patience in lieu of the living thing idea, but really I think it's living thing first, and then that brings patience with it.
patience and kindness, because there's also like there's a difference between taking a break and then saying like, oh, I'm just not going to do it. And having that mindset of if I stop, then it's all over. And that's not true. It's giving yourself permission. Hey, I'm going to not do this at this moment, and I'm going to come back to it, and really saying that.
I have a very vivid anecdote related to Carl on set directing the short film Sluggo the Skull Crusher.
So good. We're gonna put that in the show notes.
Sounds like a show notes moment.
Show
Oh,
notes.
wow.
I'm proud to say I was the director of photography of most of it.
And yeah,
I guess there's always second unit stuff.
You were extremely fundamental in making sure that they got made.
And boy, did it. And on the last day of shooting, I think it was the last day of shooting, the last big day of shooting,
It was the last day.
we were in that garage where we had set up this outlaw wrestling ring, and it had already been like a full day, and there were a number of complicated shots that we still had scheduled. And I was like in DP mode, like, Carl, I just need you to tell me like where the camera's going to go next, and then I'll go do that. And I was like, probably not making total sense, being tired myself. And I remember you looking at me, and you're holding this orange in your hand the whole time, and I go through my whole thing, and then you're just like, I just need to go and eat this orange real fast. And I was like, I got it. I totally got it. Go eat the orange.
I feel like I remember that moment like 100%.
And I was like, you're doing the right thing. Like, go eat the orange. Carl needs to eat that orange. I can see it in his eyes.
Well, I ate the orange, and I can report that it did help. And I would my advice to everyone would be stop and eat the orange.
I love that.
Put it
Stop
on
and
a
eat the
t-shirt.
orange.
Yeah.
Folks,
Tell us.
yeah. If I know that you were sort of in the middle of conversing with Ryan, but if Sasha was here, our producer Sasha, I just need full disclosure. Our producer Sasha is not here tonight.
And that's why this is so fucking crazy.
And so if he was here, I know that he would be telling us that it's about time for us to move on. And these days, moving on means taking a little...
I just have to, I'm so sorry. There's just one thing that our listeners, I know that they are just so concerned about that we have not addressed of this whole story, the fire and everything.
Tell us, Mike.
How are those cats?
The cats, they're better than ever.
All right. We needed to know that because Carl came with the cat carrier. There was a fire.
Okay.
And everybody's mind was just like,
that's
what
true. I also
these
said that
cats?
you got very harrowing.
Yeah.
There was a cliffhanger. There really was on the day. It was like, are the cats going to be okay?
And
we weren't. So my partner Sarah and I, we were there. We were at home when the fire started, and the fire department showed up so fast we didn't actually have time to get our cats out with us. So the entire time that the fire department
for
was
anybody that didn't hear that, Sid can't.
I can't.
going in, the fire department was going in with the hose and the axes and everything else, and they actually had to go into the building next door. And Carl,
Wait, are you telling me that they had hose in different area codes?
the
Wow.
fire department
That's
has
crazy.
hose. It's hoses. I don't know.
Wait, now that's ludicrous.
All right, there it is.
Cha-ching. I have to say that I was fiddling and futzing with these cards. And earlier when you were talking, rest popped up.
Ooh,
It
so
flipped over
Sid-
on itself. And I kind of looked at Carl like, oh shit. And then you said you have to rest. And I just think that's so wonderful. So I think the message of the day is everybody don't burn out. Take a little break. Take a little rest. Be kind to yourself. Remember that you're going to come right back. You can let yourself fill the tank back up and drink a fucking glass of water.
Eat an orange.
Eat an orange.
Eat that orange.
Human.
You're a living being.
You're
You're a
alive.
human.
You're alive.
Don't forget.
Say it to yourself. You're alive.
I needed this
Sid,
episode
now,
today.
there's a reason you have a card in your hand, and that reason is that we are about to play fake pitches.
All right. So I'm going to pick two other cards.
Two other cards, because you already said rest.
Well, that was just special.
Now
It just flipped right over.
This week on Fake Pitches, we are getting the title from the card.
So it is the exact title.
The card is telling us the title,
It's two cards.
and we are telling it. The two cards are going to tell us the 2-word title, and then we are telling you what that is a title of. Be it
Okay.
a TV show, a movie, a book, who knows? A
First card.
podcast.
Abundance balance.
Abundance Balance. That's the title.
Yep.
Abundance Balance is the title of the show.
Oh my gosh.
Abundance
I'm sorry.
Balance.
Also, and I just need everyone in the vibe, the aura
Mhm.
of this.
Those of you that are in the vibe and
This
the aura.
is the green machine, because rest was green, balance was green, abundance is green. We
Show the
got green. We got green.
Now, if you were watching this
The
on
vibe.
YouTube,
I have been fiddling and futzing with these cards so much. They have been that these are not in order, okay? So I just want everyone to let that sink in. Abundance, balance,
Abundance-
and action.
Abundance Balance is a court TV show with a judge. Judge Jimmy John Jackson Ja Ba Ba is the judge of Abundance Balance. And the point of Abundance Balance, you've seen Judge Judy where she tells you right and wrong. Abundance Balance doesn't tell you right and wrong based on morals. It tells you right and wrong based on monetary position in the world. If you are in the upper class, do not come on this show, because Abundance Balance is going to shut you the fuck down. All right? Because Judge Jimmy John Jababapada is a very, very well studied judge. And I think my 30 seconds is up. Sorry. Somebody else go.
All right. So Abundance Balance is a new documentary on how you can accumulate wealth by balancing on a balance beam. And basically, it's a whole documentary on the spiritual activity that actually works. It's been around since the beginning of time. And if you really concentrate, it's a very specific pose that these people are doing on the balance beam. And when that happens, it's all of a sudden these dollar bills will come showering down from the sky.
Oh, wow.
And it's only happened
In abundance?
It's abundance of ones. And it's only happened 3 times.
Dollar bills, y'all?
Dollar bills, y'all. And the thing is that every time that this has happened, it's only 3 times that's been documented, they were wearing a green underwear.
Oh my
Wow.
God. So the green cards and the green money and Mike's green shirt from episode 4,
Wow.
it's all coming together now.
But
It's all coming.
You have to
together.
balance. Oh, and it's only, you have to balance your whole body on your pinky toe.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Well,
Balance Abundance is the new hit game show from NBC. Whoopi Goldberg hosts as you've got a car on. There's a huge balance beam. It's one of those. What's the thing in the scale from the judge thing?
the scale.
The scale from the judge thing. On one side is a brand new car, and then you have to take 3. You get 3 shopping carts. You go through the whole grocery store and you load up the shopping carts, and then you put it on the other side of the scale. And if your balance beam equalizes, you win the car.
Wahoo.
That was awesome.
Ryan, Abundance Balance. Now, we don't force the guest to pitch.
All right. So
If
what
you're-
I have is there's a man named Alex Bundance, and he has run up such a high tab at his local bar where he spends a lot of time because he's not happy at home. He's got a huge balance, and he needs to figure out a way to pay it. And so this is kind of like a lighthearted Breaking Bad story where Alex Abundance needs to figure out how he's gonna pay this balance.
So that's
he doesn't cook meth to do it. I just want to get that out of the way.
You brought up Breaking Bad.
This is so good.
What does he cook to pay off the balance?
Maybe
Pasta.
He starts
Sourdough
training.
bread.
He becomes he starts teaching gymnastics to pay off the debt.
Here we go.
And he gets like young people on the balance beam, and they're having their problems. You know, they're like he's struggling as well. They learn from each other. Alex Abundance's balance.
Oh, wow.
Abundance balance.
Damn, I feel like that gymnastics class just sort of locked it in.
Yeah.
So
I have to say that the balance beam was inspired by Mike's daughter, Simone, who's currently in gymnastics.
That's right.
Yes.
Shout out to Simone.
Now
She's
you know
only
Mike's
2.
daughter's
She
name.
made Sunday. She made it across the balance beam for the first time without any help.
And she's 2.
That's the cutest thing
She's
that
only
I've heard.
2.5.
all night.
I'm so
Balance
sad I
beam at
missed
2.
it.
Balance beam
I'm
at
going to be
2.5.
there next Sunday.
Clear your schedules because we're making those shows. The second thing is that, Ryan, if you want people to find you online, where could they do that?
You can go to my website, which is www.ryang.work, which I like to think of as a kind of spell that you can cast through your internet browser. ryang.work, and then I'll appear and I'll edit
I love that.
or write
It's
Or
like
shoot, which you
or
shot.
shoot.
You just shot for us. We have a little fun
Yep.
sketch.
Oh my God, I
that
can't
came
believe
out.
we didn't even talk about this.
I know, but he just, even tonight.
And you said your website is .work, and I think that's a really great like manifestational website. Like if you're putting up a reel for work, if your website is Ryan.work, it's like Ryan's getting work. RyanG.work.
That's right.
It's www.ryang.work, right?
Is it working?
right.
I mean, he's working this week, isn't he?
he?
We like to hear it.
I am working this week. I don't know. How do you tell when your website is working?
Yeah,
Some
I think-
things
look,
that I've done have
You're-
definitely worked.
I think Rihanna said it best. Work.
Right.
Yeah.
Bitch better have my money.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's working for the weekend.
Well,
I think it's working. then.
you're working
that was
enough
Rihanna?
not
I think
to
so.
burn out. We
Ryan,
don't want you to
I'm not
burn
going to
out.
burn out again because I've done it enough times.
And
where
he's drank the water.
I know to stay hydrated and get sleep. And
My last specific question for Ryan is, would you come back?
to the pod?
Right.
To
here.
Oh,
the
in a
pod.
heartbeat.
All right.
There we
We'd
go.
be happy to have you. Look, we are running
Comedy
out of time here. We're the
filmmakers.
comedy filmmakers. You can find us at www.sydandmike.com or at Sid and Mike on YouTube and Instagram.
Shoot us an email at sydandmikenyc@gmail.com. Do not shoot an email over to sydandmike@gmail.com because we are in a heated litigation battle with the owners of that website that I can't even, I'm not even really supposed to be, our lawyers have told us not to talk
This
about the
Is Mike's
the
number
trial.
one cause of burnout? Is this
Since-
Sid and Mike?
I've been working on trying to get the Sid and Mike Gmail account back. Well, we've never had it.
Press the button.
We've
End
never
this.
had it.
No, since the show aired, we have started to get letters from the lawyers of
Yeah.
the owners of Sid and Mike at gmail.com.
Yeah, cease and desist. They say that we shouldn't. That now that there's libel laws or something that we're harassing them.
Our
by,
lawyers have advised us to not talk too much about this, but all I want to say against the advice of the lawyers is that we're coming for you and we're going to use violence.
yeah,
Bing bong.
and fuck Sid and Mike. That's all I have to say about it. You know what? Sid and Mike are ruining our lives. Comedy Filmmakers Motivation Monday, the podcast, is a production of Dark Matter Entertainment and Phantom Strain Pictures.
Our producer is Sasha Nonas Barnes. Our theme song is by Joseph Colmenero.
You can find us online on YouTube or Instagram at Sid and Mike or email us at sydandmikenyc@gmail.com.